Hey, hello, welcome to the session on mastering the investor advisor relationship. In the next 20 minutes, you'll learn how to open a discovery call so that you can do it with confidence, build trust quickly. This is important, right? And create equal business stature with prospective clients. So it's not advisor investor or investor advisor, it's equal stature, human to human. So, as a financial advisor, the first few minutes of a conversation we know determine whether you're seen as a trusted partner or just another peddler or salesperson, if you will. We teach bonding and rapport aren't about small talk or fake friendliness or trying to be interested. They're about authentic curiosity. They're about making the other person feel safe, feel heard. People need to be heard and understood today. So they're about making the other person feel respected. So let's break it down, how to do that step by step. So let's be clear about the dynamic. Investors come into a call with their guard up. They're holding their cards close to the vest. Have you ever heard that saying? They're asking themselves silently, can I trust you? Do you understand me? And are you going to try to sell me something or what? Especially something I don't want. Your role as an advisor is not to overpower or convince or push. Nope. It's to earn the right to ask deeper questions. Deeper questions, that starts equal business stature, human to human. Okay. So equal stature means that you're not above the client. You don't know more than they do. You're not below them either. You're shoulder to shoulder, exploring together whether it makes sense to work with one another going forward. So the mindset changes here, the entire tone of the call. So here's a question for you. How do you usually show up in a first meeting? Above, below, or shoulder to shoulder? I'll let you think about that. Most advisors think rapport means chit chat, sharing a coffee, talking about the weather or the game or the weekend. And that can happen, but that's a trap. Real rapport is about aligning and being relevant. Hard to say. So here are three trust builders you can use in the first 2 minutes, just as example. You'll want to use your own, but this will get you started thinking, okay? So authentic warmth might be, well, I might say, hi, Carl, thanks for inviting me in. Or it might be telling them what will and won't happen, Thanks for making my time today. My role is simple, to learn more about what you want to accomplish and see if I can help, if that's okay with you. I'll ask a few questions about what prompted our conversation and maybe like what success looks like for you. And then I'll share how I typically help clients. And then I want you to ask your questions and take maybe 50 minutes if that's still okay. Good. Then I'll show you how I typically help clients, and together we should be able to decide by the end of our 45 minutes or so if it makes sense to take a next step. No decisions due today unless we both want to. Does that sound fair? Something like that. So that's a transparency. Permission-based is big today. It might be just to ask if it's okay to ask some questions. So the bonding and rapport, it's not wasted small talk. It's just trust, not wasted small talk, just trust. So the most powerful tool you can use for early trust is an upfront agreement, which is what I just displayed. There's 5 parts to it. Do you want to take notes? Purpose, why we're meeting. That's number 1. Number 2 is how long are we going to spend together? Kind of clear the air on that. There's nothing worse than starting a meeting and then 15 minutes in, somebody says, oh, well, we're going to have to take off to the Little League game. So why don't you send me some stuff? So that's a purpose, why, a time, how long. Number 3, what each will cover. We both get a chance to ask our questions. Number 4 is, what is the outcome? What does success look like today at the end of our 45 minutes or hour or whatever it is that we've agreed upon? And then, and kind of a permission. It's a permission to ask questions and to be direct. So when you set an upfront agreement, you lower defenses a little bit. So it reduces any hidden agenda. It brings the fear level down, or the angst. People almost always have angst when we're sitting across from them. So when you set an upfront, you lower that defense, you reduce any hidden agenda. There's no dog and pony show. There's no pressure. There's no intrusiveness. Just starting to create, let's call it collaboration. So think about what's your version of an upfront? You can use my guidelines. Keep it under 60 seconds. Keep it very friendly, low key. It's not formal. And practice until it feels natural to you. Okay. Now, once the agreement is in place, sort of a, what am I say, a gentleman's agreement or a human agreement, you move into bonding questions, not interrogation, not just connect questions. We're not talking about assets or what you want to achieve. We might say it like this. Here's 4, if you want to keep them ready. What promised you to explore this now? Oh, that's number 1. Number 2 might be, what would make this 45 minutes the most worthwhile for you? Here's number 3. Do you mind if I ask, what have you already tried and what did you like or not like? I don't know if you noticed it, but I did a thing there called softening a question. Do you mind if I ask, or could I ask you a difficult question? Softening a question, you can ask almost anything. Here's one. Whose input beside yours, Carl, will be important in this decision? You're sort of asking who else should have a seat at the table, aren't you? In a polite way, like who's the real decision maker? We probably don't want to approach it that way, and I know you wouldn't. So all 4 questions are about whom? They're about them, not you. It's not about us, it's about them. Oftentimes we start it just the other way around. Can I tell you a little bit about myself? So that's a little bit about building rapport by making them the star of the conversation, not you. Can you handle it? I know you can. So here's a couple more thoughts. You won't always get a smooth start, but sometimes a prospective investor might say, I only have 10 minutes, no matter what you might have agreed to on the phone. They might say, just send me something, or they might say, well, how much do you charge? So those all seem a bit premature, don't they? So here's how I handle them, and these will give you some ideas to stay calm, stay curious. Can you be authentically curious? Just really be interested, and maintain that equal stature. Here's a couple of things. So if I hear I only have 10 minutes, I just want to stay calm, but I might say, well, great, let's use them wisely. What would make these 10 most valuable for you? Now, if you can't do your work in 10, you might say so. Well, let's take those 10 and we'll get started, and then perhaps decide what a next step might look like to be more valuable to you. 10 minutes isn't enough. Typically, we want to agree on the time before we get to the meeting, but that's not always possible. Or sometimes people change their mind a little bit. What do you do when you, well, could you just send me the proposal, or send me your brochure? Well, I'm happy to. I wonder, though, to avoid wasting your time, I wonder if I could ask you 2 quick questions so we could supply the right information. Perhaps I break the ice and get to ask some questions. What do you charge? Oh boy, that's a fair question, Mrs. Buyer. If it looks like I can help, I'll share options today. There are different ways that could look. Is it okay if we first see if we're a fit and then decide sort of how we might take the next steps and then get a little clearer on investment parameters and so forth? Something like that. That got a little wordy, but each answer honors their concern, and we don't dodge, but we want to keep a little bit of control over the meeting so we can do our work and keep some, not just organization, but display that we're competent. We've done this many times before. Honor their concern. So what's the one you hear the most often? You could say it out loud if you want to. Once trust is established, it's time to go a little deeper. Now, so, it could be questions like, now, what prompted us to meet together now? Or why now? Or do you mind, where would you like to be in 12 months? What would that look like? Would you share that with me? I might say, what obstacles are holding you back the most now? Or what's getting in your way? Or what's the biggest challenge? Or is there a roadblock or a fear or a consideration we might want to talk about? Give you an idea of how to break the ice. There's, uncovering motivation, uncovering pain, maybe some emotion and some urgency if there is, without feeling too pushy. That puts control in the client's hands, and that's good. People like to make their decisions. They like to agree with their own data, if you will. So, we might want to, here's the mistake most advisors make. They end with, I'll follow up with you. and that puts the control in the client's hands. So I'd rather offer a couple options. Martha, we can schedule, if it's all right with you, say a 45-minute working session to take the next step in mapping out a plan for you. Would that make sense? Or would that be helpful? Which helps you the most? You know, so that's more collaboration. That's trust. It's equal business stature, and that's how you master. That's how you start to master the investor advisor relationship. So I would record a 60-second open or an upfront agreement, practice it so it just comes natural to you, so that it's not a script and it's just talking points, but you're comfortable with it and natural. And then I'd write a couple of connect questions you always ask to get the ball rolling. And you can script your response to the resistance you hear most. Oftentimes we resist practicing or scripting, but what happens is, can you relate? What happens is we're winging it. And I've been doing this for a long time, and whenever I wing it, I blow it. Now you're better than that, but we do have a tendency to say things that don't make sense, or that, we're not really listening. We're more worried about what we're going to say next. So it's okay. There's not a professional in the world that doesn't practice except for us. We don't have the tendency to practice, but a Major League Baseball player practices, a tennis player practices, a cellist practices. We're left out, and we don't know why, but we don't necessarily practice. So start thinking about how you can write it out, how you're going to approach it, get real comfortable with it, so you're not surprised, especially with those 2 or 3 objections, we'll call them, that you hear the most often. That's worth being practiced and really mastering. So there you go.